This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good looking friends. Today, we're going to be getting into part 2 of Meghan Markle's anonymous blog called The Working Actress. If you haven't seen part 1, I highly suggest you check that out first. So, this video will make a lot more sense to you. For those that are familiar or have seen the video, let's get into now the Inside Acting podcast interview that was done back on April 27th, 2010. So, this wasn't a traditional podcast in which this working actress went on to talk to these two podcasters. What they did was sent the working actress, aka Meghan, allegedly a list of questions in which she gave her pearls of wisdom. So, what they did was put this together on a PDF in which their viewers or listeners could pull it down and read for themselves. The actual podcast doesn't have any conversation really with what this was all about. Let's take a look at some of the answers that she had gave to some of these questions. Keep in mind, this interview was done in the early stages when the Working Actress blog just started. As time went on, you started to see with various interviews the contrasting, conflicting statements, aka lies, hypocrisy, and the ego inflating. So let's start with the first question. IAP asks, how and why did you get into acting? Is there a central story or event in your life that put you on this path? Are you from Los Angeles originally, or are you a transplant? So after Working Actress insincerely shows gratitude for being given this opportunity to respond in a text, she begins to tell her story. She says, I'm from LA originally, so when you're surrounded by the industry, it's more of the norm to get into as a career rather than not to. And even though I did theater in high school and always loved acting, I hated the idea of being some cliche girl from LA who just becomes an actress because she's pretty and liked to act. That never sat well with me. So I went to college out of state, lived out the country for a bit, had all this life experience, and came back to LA. I think in the back of my mind, I always knew I would end up in the industry in some capacity, and acting was, for me, a natural start. So even in this, you can see her self-hatred for herself. Like, she knows that she is this cliche and this is what she wants, but doesn't like seeing how there's others who are doing it and that she's just a dime a dozen. What we see and have witnessed over the last 6, 7 years with Meghan Markle is that she's always trying to be different, to set herself above everybody else. I mean, recently, this website is a perfect example of her doing that. So she's like, yeah, I went to college and I got all this life experience that other actors and actresses don't have because I'm so much better than them. But yeah, I came back to do this because deep down, secretly inside, this is all that she has wanted to do. She's a fame whore. Later in 2011, the working actress does one of her last interviews, and the same particular question was asked, and this was her response. Here we go. Question asked by Shanice Kaminga. When did you know you wanted to be an actor? And the response is, I always enjoyed acting and was that kid who did all the plays and musicals, but I never thought I'd jump in professionally. That was stars coming into alignment. Do you see? You see the mental gymnastics Meghan puts people through? Then in 2014, this fraud completely denies ever wanting to go into acting. Watch.
And I read that you were never originally going to go into acting.
No,
right?
That's right. I was going to do politics.
Once again, Meghan trying to separate herself from everybody else. It got to be different. No, I didn't want to be in acting. It just fell in my lap because I'm so intellectually interesting and awesome. Moving on, IAP asks, what has the process of starting out as an actor to getting to where you are now been like? What obstacles have you come up against time and time again? Has there been anything that's been easier for you than you thought it would be? Working actress replies, okay, literally, I read that and started laughing. There have been countless moments of why the hell am I doing this? I knew going into this field that it wouldn't be easy, but I had no idea just how emotionally taxing it was.
The biggest thing that I know is that I never thought that this would be easy, but I thought it would be fair.
Now, granted, I was fortunate in that from the start, I had a great agent, albeit at a low level agency. But when you're starting, that doesn't matter. You need someone to believe in you, and it's so easy to be seduced by wanting a name brand agency or management company so you could have your resume on their fancy letterhead. But I'm telling you, it makes zero sense at the beginning of your career. If they hip pocket you, you aren't a priority. When it comes to packaging, they're not going to think of you. And more times than not, you're shelved. I fell into that trap a couple times, and it's stupid, counterproductive. It's like the actor's version of being a label hoe with clothes, a complete waste so you can look the part. Dumb, dumb, dumb. Well, I don't think Meghan right now has moved past this. She went on to WME, and I'm guessing that they are currently shelving her until they can get out of their contract. I mean, she hasn't learned anything, and we've all seen how she's demonstrated that she's dumb, dumb, dumb. The working actress continues on and says, "At the end of the day, I think it doesn't matter who you're with, so long as they have good relationships and they work for you. That's it. Beyond representation obstacles, there have been so many more. Bitchy actresses in the waiting room, test deals gone awry, having all my scenes cut out. I mean, you name it, I've been there. And in the past, when those things would happen, I would crumble. It seemed like such an injustice when the director and all the producers are fighting against one asshole network exec to convince him that I'm the only one they want to carry this pilot, and the asshole wins. That to me is still crazy, but the more I work in the industry, the more I realize that it's just part of it. It's the politics and business of this business that are so hard to swallow. But the more educated you are about the inner workings of it, the easier it is to not take it personally. Doesn't cross her mind that maybe she just sucks and nobody wants to watch her. And Hollywood is definitely fake. So even though they may tell you that they love you, obviously there's politics involved. No doubt in my mind, Megan swallowed a lot because she just sucked. And you can take that however you want. High probability that she did some things and ended up not getting what she wanted, which is most likely what eats her up inside. Oh, the injustice of it all. Poor me. I'm a victim. They don't like me because they're racist. Then the working actress ends this question by saying this. What else? Oh, what has been easier than I expected? My comfort level on set. I used to get so nervous on set. How could I keep up with these seasoned professionals? How could I deliver my lines best? Or at the beginning of my career, it was more like, how can I deliver this one line best? And what surprised me, and it happened in the past couple years, is that I get on set and it feels like a job, a real life job. It shocked me the first day it happened. It almost made me sad. Because for the first time, I didn't have knots in my stomach and this awe over the fact I was working. It was the first time it hit me that this is actually what I do, not what I'm trying to do, but what I do. And while I still feel grateful for everything I book, the realization that I'm a working actress was, I wish I could think of a better word, but it was weird. So here are two things that this response is telling me that is so Megan. One, she says she wasn't nervous anymore, which means it just shows you don't care. Normally, when you're nervous, it means that you really care about what you're doing and trying to put your best foot forward. Second, the fact that she is saying she has a job and it makes her sad just shows how lazy this woman is and doesn't want to work. Meghan Markle has a proven track record of half assing everything. We've seen her do that as a working royal. She couldn't cut it. We've seen her with her podcast. I mean, her own podcast. She couldn't even do the interviews. We've seen that with the shit flicks that they put out. I mean, everything is so lazy and, quite frankly, unimpressive. This next question and answer didn't age so well. IAP says, since you've been working in this industry, do you have any stories or experiences that stick out in your mind as a major event or turning point for you? In your experience, Are there any major pitfalls actors should be on the lookout for? Now, listen to this load of shite. She says, that is a tough one to answer because if I reveal too much, you'll start to figure out who I am. And it sucks because I want to tell you. There have been a couple of things that I booked that I just knew were about to change my career. Publicists started calling my agent. I started getting invited to more red carpets and grifting suites than ever before. But somewhere in all of that, the roles didn't pan out to be so life altering. Great experiences took me up a few notches, but no big ta da moment. And I think maybe that's a good thing for several reasons. I have never wanted to be famous. I've always wanted to make a great living, getting to play dress up and work with awesome people. So perhaps the pace of my career is exactly where it should be. And also, I'm really private. I loathe walking in the red carpet. It makes me nervous and itchy, and I don't know which way to look and just revert to this nerdy child that I once was. I hate it. I get off the carpet and have to shake it off. Sounds dramatic, but it's really nerve wracking for me. And also, I think the lines have blurred so much these days between actors and celebrities that there are some people better served for that hand on hip posing. I don't know. Those are the sort of things that I know people look forward to, but I most enjoy the thrill of booking the job and the adventure of working with new people and traveling to cool places. She writes, they roll out the red carpet in a major way because they want me to show up looking and presenting in the best possible manner. This is the ultimate dance monkey dance. Now, let me say this as much as some people might hear this description and feel nauseated by it, that inner monologue of, I am an artiste. I say this to you, dear friend. Get over yourself. This is part of the job and it's fucking awesome. It's fancy and it's cool and it's the business of what it takes to make it in this business. If you are pursuing television, then realize that you have already sold out and take your big fancy paycheck to produce your artiste driven plays on hiatus in between TV roles because you can now. Because flashing those pearly whites, veneers, and working the red carpet with your sexy little body, Spanx, is part of the job description, and you jumped on board for when you were lucky enough to sign on the dotted line that day you were testing, auditioning. This is what we call high class problem. And compared with the problems of what feels like many moons ago, not having money to fill up my gas tank, scotch taping my headshots and CVs to audition applications because I ran out of staples, crying because I couldn't get a callback or even an audition, when I knew in my core that I was the best possible one for the part, I will take this any day. Going back to finish the question, now this next part is rich. I think actors should look out for a few pitfalls. Getting too cocky because an ego will be popped in our field faster than any other. Gossiping on set or anywhere for that matter. This town is small. Being late, awful. Having excuses. Oh, I just got these pages last night. Oh, I just got over a cold. Or how about, oh, they're racist. Or, oh, they didn't want to give me any help. Oh, I thought it would be fair. I mean, it goes on and on. Doesn't matter. Someone may have just gotten off a plane, gotten into a car accident, spilled coffee all over the sides, and still booked the part. So let your agent tell them the backstory if they ask. You just do your best and don't give any disclaimers. Now, in this next question and response, Meghan gives herself away in the first couple of sentences. The question is, if you could give just one piece of advice to actors, a habit or behavior, mindset, book to read, etc., what would it be? Working actress replies, be kind to yourself. I think that what we are doing is hands down one of the hardest things to undertake. No, we're not coal miners, but it's not some fluff job like people outside of our industry perceive it to be.
So I often say, if you grew up in a small coal mining town, for example, maybe you'd become a coal miner. I grew up in the entertainment industry, so I was inspired to get involved in, not acting specifically, but definitely in wanting to be part of the team of making a TV show or...
The competition is steep. The rules change all the time, and most of the time, the best actor is not the one who gets the part because it comes down to who everyone likes versus who everyone thinks gave the best read. It's so easy to beat ourselves up when we don't book or wonder why. But please remember that it's a long road, but it's doable. I never in a million years imagined that I would be at a point where I'm the choice or on the list, meaning my agency doesn't have to submit me because I'm on a list. I mean, really, it's amazing and it's a testament to sticking with it even when it felt deflated. I've had to freeze my union memberships, borrow money, work jobs that I hated, endure being treated like shit on set, kiss actors with smelly breath, and cry for hours on end because I just didn't think I could take it anymore. And if you can get used to this roller coaster of emotions of work, then that's half the battle. Other practical things: save your money, surround yourself with people outside of the industry, and keep up the hustle. In this small glimpse of what is left of this blog site, we see this working actress become more and more boasty of the perks that she gets becoming this so called established actress. Here's one of the, I believe, one of the last posts that was made before she just disappeared. The tone of it, in my opinion, is condescending arrogance. The title of the piece is The Driver, and it begins, and it's very short. While traveling for press recently, I had a driver. Let's call him Jim. The driver thing is a bizarre luxury that, as a working actor, strangely becomes the norm. There are no cabs or driving yourself and looking for parking, only to come back to a ticket for an expired meter because the appointment ran late. Because, God, do I remember those days. Instead, there is a driver in a suit with a sign that has your name on it, and doors that are open, and luggage that is carted, and waters and mints and magazines in the back seat. His job is to get you from point A to point B, sans stress, all the while being professional and discreet, like the Secret Service, except they won't take a bullet for you. And what this stupid post says to me is pretty much the working actress rubbing it in the faces of those that are struggling by saying, ha ha, look at me, look at me. I now have a driver. I don't drive myself anymore. And, you know, right now I should be getting security, essentially, because, yeah, it's become normal and this is her way of life now. And it's almost like she expects to have this type of protection, which we all know this is what she wants. She wanted this from day one to feel important, to feel better about herself, to show people that, yes, she has arrived and she is so important. So, in this brief snippet and insight into the brain of Meghan Markle, you can tell that she believes that she's honestly better than everyone else in everything that she does, even though she is a basic bitch. She really has no talent, no interesting things to say, and quite frankly, is repulsive in her behavior as a human being. But the reason why she's dangerous is because she's obsessive. And when you have someone with malicious intent that will stop at nothing and clearly has proven that she will continue to keep going and going, no matter how many no's are slammed in her face, no matter what people say, she's going to continue to condition her brain to say, I am the best princess in the world. I can be queen of the world. Now, if you're like me and believe that Meghan Markle is behind this anonymous blog, then this passage should give you an indication of the level of determination that this woman has to achieve whatever she sets out to do. As she writes here, I'm a booker. I book all the time. That has been my mantra for about a year now. I was swimming in negative thought during the day and needed to tell myself, trick myself even that I would work, that I would keep working, that I didn't need to worry about the lulls in between jobs, when the next check would come, or the sadness that hits after you wrap a show. Because, well, I had to just trust that I was a booker. If that's what I wanted to be, then I had to trick myself into being just that, even when I wasn't booking a effing thing. So, when you have someone who is this mentally sick and has this obsession of trying to be better than and outdoing someone, no doubt in my mind, her new mantra, because clearly acting didn't work out for her, but her mantra now in her head playing over and over is, I'm going to be queen of the world. I'm better than Catherine. I'm prettier. I'm smarter. I'm kinder. You know that this is what is driving her and making her crazy. She wants that top spot. And I do think that when you have someone who is so obsessive, she will take it to another level that we haven't seen yet. And that is what scares me the most. This recent stunt with their website was a warning shot. It was a warning shot to the royal family that they are moving forward to setting up their own royal household here in America, in which anything goes. So if Meghan and Harry want to be just like the Obamas and call their website from the office of, while they continue with their political activism in trying to undermine this country, they're going to keep doing it because the royal family is not putting their foot down, even when they had the chance to put their foot down with our congressman writing to the queen saying that their titles need to be stripped because they are interfering with American elections. The royal family did nothing. So what we're seeing here, folks, is a beast who is so brazen and emboldened to go ahead and stick her middle fingers up at the very same family that gave her this position in the first place. She truly is a nasty, vulgar piece of work. As seen in the small window from this anonymous blog, she really is an unstable person, not being able to keep her stories consistent or straight. And then you can see the holier than thou attitude shine through in this brief moment. I mean, it's what we've been seeing over the last 6 years, and I believe that it will get worse if she's not stopped. This is the last person that power should be given to. Anyhow, these are just my thoughts. If you didn't watch part one, you should, so you can see a little bit more context of how she thinks and, quite frankly, immature about certain things. I mean, the woman is totally vacuous, empty, and shallow. Nothing that any youth should be looking up to or taking advice from. Just my humble opinion, but what do you guys think? As always, I will be back with more content, but until then, please be safe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!
Such a fraud.